Very kindly from Bentley and Grange, I have been lent this. A Bentley Flying Spur Mulliner. This is the Mulliner, which is the top of the range. You start with the Flying Spur, then the Azure, then the Speed, and then the Mulliner. But headline facts are it's got Porsche 4-litre V8 twin turbo with hybrid, so 771 horsepower and 1,000 Newton meters of torque. And it lurches from 0 to 60, believe it or not, in 3.3 seconds. So for those of you who've been asking on my Instagram for the past week or so what the colour is, it's called dark cashmere, and believe it or not, when I went into the garage a couple of weeks ago, I went on the configurator that night and I spec'd a car in this colour, and then the demo arrived in this colour. So I think it's magnificent. This one has all the black trims, so you can see all the black trims around the light surrounds and all around here in the grille. Personally, I like the chrome. The grille is specific to the Mulliner. You get this diamond pattern effect with chrome, which is very pretty, and all the mirrors obviously, and the wheels. It's sort of a mean spec. If I were to spec a Bentley, I like the sort of old man spec, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's a fantastically spec car. Whoever spec'd this one, congratulations. And then in the interior, with the Mulliners, you are able to spec a third interior trim option. This one has been done in camel, as you can see all around here, and you get all the piping as well on the seats, which is incredibly pretty. Piano black trim on this one. I like the woods. Get all this diamond stitching and the perforation, heated, ventilated obviously all round, of course, massaging in the back. You get something called posture control in the front, which is supposed to sort of move your back around and make you not tired. Haven't tried that yet. One thing I would absolutely do if I were to spec my own is Bentley offers something now where you can get this whole door card section in wood to match the veneer. I think it's burnt ash, the one I like, which is like quite a pale wood. But other than that, it's not actually that far off how I would have spec'd this car. So yeah, obviously you get all the interior blinds, you get infotainment, you connect your phone to, has the most powerful stereo fitted to a production car at 2,200 watts. A lot of you have followed me over the years. I've had some pretty leery cars, all of which have been straight piped and loud and obnoxious. But I don't know, recently driving in the UK, I've just found it so dull that I just want to get in something that's beautiful. And I've always loved Bentley as a brand, its heritage, the fact they went racing and still do. And actually around the back, one thing I forgot to mention, this has actually got an approach exhaust. So it actually sounds good as well. But the thing is, it's not too intrusive. It's relatively quiet in there. It's always sort of there, which is nice. And because it's a hybrid, one thing I thought I'd never say is I actually like it being electric in town. The engine charges it up a lot of the time when you're driving spiritedly in sport or whatever. And then, yeah, you get into town and it's quiet and wonderful and you can enjoy the best stereo fitted to a car. The main talking point among the Bentley enthusiasts was losing the W12. I was also involved in that argument, if I'm honest. It was a sort of staple to the brand, a fantastically smooth, wonderful engine that fitted a car like this perfectly. So now, as I said earlier, we have the 4-litre V8. You find it in also the Urus and the RS6 and various RS models. So now under the bonnet, for your 300 grand, you get a load of plastic. No, yeah, I'm afraid this is quite typical of car manufacturers these days. I mean, if I paid this much money for a car, I'd want to see my V8. But it's all very nicely packaged in there. But I mean, if you were to take all the plastic off, all you're going to see is looms. There's just miles and miles of wires and sensors and everything these days. Nice cross member here for a bit of rigidity. I mean, you don't feel that too much when you're driving it, if I'm honest. So I mentioned two big positives of the hybrid powertrain. The negative is this, I'm afraid. Now it may look like I've got quite a lot in there. That's because I'm very good at packing a boot. But they're actually, because of obviously you've got the battery underneath here, it's a 25 kilowatt hour battery. So it is quite big for a plug-in hybrid. The boot space is really not that good. I mean, like a typical Bentley owner, I went to go and play golf the other day with a few of my friends, and you struggle to get more than two bags, like you get 2 bags in there. I don't know, I just don't think that's very good. Is the trade-off worth it with having another 170 horsepower? Power's everything, so yes. Power over practicality. So as you can see, viewers, we are in a different location because we were kindly invited to leave. So we're here at the side of the road and there's a dreadful Nissan Leaf. One thing we need to talk about in a bit more detail is the hybrid system and how that works. So as I said earlier, it's 25 kilowatt hour battery, claimed 47-mile range on just the battery. I think in the real world it's a bit less. Obviously hybrids have been around for a while. Hybrids of this performance haven't. So when the car is in comfort and you're cruising along in electric mode, but hybrid cars of this performance, sort of a thing of the last 5 years really. Most of the time obviously drive this around in comfort and it's regenning and it's basically electric for most of the time. When you want to do spirited driving, sometimes the transition between the engine coming on and is a bit clunky, if I'm honest. Like, it's not bad, and obviously I drive probably maybe a bit quicker than the average Bentley owner, but that is something I think that will improve over time. But it was something that I wasn't overly impressed by. A lot of the time recently I've been driving it just in sport. I've been driving it with the engine and gearbox in sport and just sort of doing it myself, and the engine will just charge the battery the whole time, and then it's just, the throttle response is actually very good. Yeah, and you do get, even from low revs, obviously it's an enormous amount of torque with the electric motors as well, so it picks up rather, it lurches from corner to corner is how I would describe it. One big positive to this engine, like I said, which is a Porsche engine. The W12, while it suited this kind of car very well, it was a bit lazy, and it felt like the heavy flywheel. Like, this has obviously got a soft limiter like all cars do, but it's quite free revving. And it sounds good as well. But like, yeah, I don't know, if you can have both and it work, I don't know, it's just good. I like it. In terms of a place to sit, I don't think it gets a lot better than this, if I'm honest. The steering wheel, on the older Bentleys, they used to have these sort of double spoke and then it was quite bulky in the middle, which I hated. My dad actually had a Continental in about 2008 with that steering wheel. I think that's one of the nicest steering wheel designs, personally, I've ever seen. It's also very nice to hold. It's not like completely round here, so it's sort of flat on the outside. And like when you're just cruising along and holding it like that, it really is lovely. They haven't fallen into the trap that a lot of German car manufacturers have, and American as well, of making steering wheels overly chunky. So you end up sort of not holding them. You're just sort of like, you're like that. You want to be able to get your hand around it. I've also got very tiny hands, but also a massive penis. So yeah, very, very nice place to sit. You can fiddle around with all the view here. So, because obviously I think I would have preferred a analog dial, if I'm honest, but you can basically cycle through all these modes and you get lots of different designs, which is nice to have. Then another thing that is glorious about Bentleys, which I'm very glad they kept, are what everyone calls the organ stops for the AC, which are these things here, but that just controls the AC on or off, basically, which is very nice. On to something where I'm going to start to be a bit pedantic. You can option it to not be in plastic, but I think if you're in a car that's circa 300 grand, I don't think you should ever be touching plastic. This center console here, I believe you can get in a dark chrome finish and also like a brushed. But I mean, the buttons themselves are very nice to touch, feel very, tactile, make a nice click and all the rest of it. But I think that should be in metal as standard, if I'm honest. But yeah, then you've obviously got gear selector here. Again, another pedantic point is when you put the car into manual mode, which I do a lot, Bentleys in the past and lots of other cars have a thing where you pull it into drive and then you knock it to the side and you can do the gears here, which is quite nice when you're just sort of chilling. This doesn't have that, so you can put it in manual mode but then only use the paddles. But because the paddles are on the steering wheel and they move with the steering wheel, when you're doing spirited driving, you can sometimes get a bit confused about where the paddles are. So it's nice to always have the gear selector down here as well. This has been around for a while now. I'm gonna probably say 6-7 years, this rotating screen, which again, some people called gimmicky when it first came out. I think it's aged quite well and they've kept it on the newer ones. Why wouldn't you have that option if you could? Being able to have the analog dials here, I mean, it's beautiful. You've got your drive mode selected down here, sport, Bentley mode, which is sort of a hybrid between sport and comfort, and then custom. So when you go into custom, turn it on, that'll be useful. There you go. Nice little rumble. So this is how I've been using it for the last few days after fiddling around with it. All of our tax money goes on things that aren't important and wasteful in our country, and our roads are all terrible. This is actually the nicest way to drive this car. It's soft, but the damping is incredibly impressive. It's soft, but like it manages bumps and it manages its weight pretty well. Yes, it's, you know, there's only so much managing you can do when you've got a 2.6 ton car, but it is very good. I haven't driven it in sport at all yet, so I think we might do a little bit today, see how much difference or not that makes. That's more or less it, really. Everything works, everything's very nice. That's it. And I've got a category 3 or 4 Hurricane blowing right up my anus at the moment, which is very nice. Very powerful ventilated seat. Yeah, we enjoy that. We enjoy that a lot. It's unbelievably quiet in here. So nice, gliding around. It's just very relaxing, just excellent on all levels. Another good thing about this seat, you can adjust in about 4 billion ways. But one really good one is the headrest. If in most cars, I guarantee you, go and try it in whatever car you've got, you'll always feel like your head's like way back. But with this one, you can change this and it actually comes forward enough so that it props your head up. Although this car is a hybrid, and to be honest, me a few years ago would have turned my nose up at the idea of owning or driving around in a hybrid car. But I have to say, driving in the UK is so painful these days. Like, it's actually very nice. So I think I'm just getting old, viewers, is what's happening. But what is also great about this is it does also have noise. I would make it have more noise, because then you could have no noise at all and then all of the noise. The story of how this actually came about very quickly is I went into the Bentley showroom local to my mum in Tunbridge Wells, and I was looking for to replace the Dodge, which a few of you will have seen. I've got a Hellcat. Love that car to bits. It's the only car I've nearly had it 2 years. Most cars I get rid of in 6 to 9 months. Yeah, I went in there, I was looking for a Mulsanne, which is a slightly older car, enormous. It's basically a chauffeur car, to be honest. But they're incredible value for money at the moment. So that was what I was looking at, and I just wanted something that I could waft around on the motorway. Always love the Flying Spur, and particularly the new one. But I mean, I'll be brutally honest, I can't really afford this car. And I got talking to a very lovely lady there called Sarah, so shout out to her who's made all of this possible. She turned it all around in a week and made it happen. She's been incredibly accommodating and helpful, and trying to be, like, you know, more into the automotive world outside of racing. But I don't have a big following in that sense. So, you know, the fact that I've been given this opportunity to get hold of this car and make a video on it and live with it for a couple of weeks is, yeah, very, very grateful for. So yeah, thank you very much to Sarah and her team. A lot of people would be surprised that I would choose this over the Continental, because the Continental is obviously a bit more sporty, a bit more dynamic, but I don't know, I just love the 3-box shape. And especially when it's this enormous with a huge grille, I just think it's more opulent than the Continental. So yeah, this is the Bentley I would have. Compared to the Mulsanne, like the Mulsanne is like full on old man, you know, but this really can sort of do a bit of everything. Like, obviously it's no GT3 RS on a road like this, you know, round corners and stuff, but all the roads are so terrible, you actually want something that's soft. And I have to say, as I said earlier, like, whatever suspension setup's on this, I don't know what man or men or woman developed it, but it's very good. Like, the damping is very good. Those few shots we did just then, it's the first time I've actually driven it in sport mode properly. And it still retains its softness, but like, I don't know, it deals with bumps very well, even in sport mode. What are you doing, mate?
You've just been taken by a Yaris.
Do you know what that was there? Because I was in comfort. Cut back to that bit where I was talking about how it takes a little while for the engine to kick in. Sometimes the transition between the engine coming on and is a bit clunky, if I'm honest. So when he started to come past me, I went flat, and it took about, I would say, a good 2 seconds before I actually got any form of going forward. So yes, recent double pole sitter at Monaco has just been done by a 90 horsepower Yaris while being in a 770 horsepower Bentley. So, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. We've ended up in the wonderful town, or I think it's a town, of Henley-on-Thames, and I will give you my final verdict and thoughts on this car. As I said on my Instagram, video last week. As far as I could tell from having it a day, it was perfect in nearly every single way. I'd like to confirm and back up that statement after living with it for a week. I've done nearly 500 miles in this car. I don't know if I was supposed to do that many. Anyway, I have used it and it is lovely, apart from the small little things that I said about the hybrid system not being totally intuitive all the time. Bit of plastic here and there, but like I say, you can option that out. It's great. Would I buy one? Yes. I certainly would, and if you are in the market for something of this nature, just yes, it's fantastic. Yeah, and all that really leaves me to say is thank you very much for the opportunity to have this car and make this video, etc. I'm very, very grateful. For all of those of you watching, I know my YouTube channel is still quite small at the moment. If you like these sort of more car review, in-depth sort of type videos, please show it some support, please comment. I'm going to be very active in the comments in my videos going forward, so say what you like and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, thank you very much.